As we travel the country filming our PBS television series Painting and Travel, we occasionally meet other artists. And here in Grand Marais, Minnesota, we were lucky enough to run across Neil Sherman while he was working on a plein air painting near the harbor at a great location aptly named Artist Point. We fell in love with Grand Marais and spent about a week here. It's a great place to visit, lots of character, and places to set up and paint. I took advantage of all the plein air possibilities of painting on location as well, and joined in as Neil painted nearby.
We're in the studio of Neil Sherman, who's part of the art colony here in Grand Marais, Minnesota. The art colony is very interesting. It started in the late 40s by Bernie Quick. He was an artist. He came up here to paint. He found so many beautiful subjects to tackle that he kept coming back and bringing his students. And at one time, I think there might have been 80 artists in the summer up here painting.
Yeah, I don't know the numbers, total numbers, but it wouldn't surprise me.
And you've been working on your career for at least 20 years, and you find unlimited subjects here to paint.
Yeah, it's hard to choose sometimes. Like, when I'm going out, I run through the catalog in my mind of like specific spots. Should I paint in town? Should I go up the Gunflint Trail? Do I want to get a view looking down the shore? Because
you have lighthouses, you've got Lake Superior, you've got all sorts of great rock formations, evergreen trees, and on and on and on.
Yeah, a lot of it, what dictates where I paint is sometimes what the light is or the weather is doing. If there's kind of a stormy something rolling in, it's sometimes fun to be by the lake because you can get a lot of drama. If it's, bright and sunny, maybe go inland to get, long shadows on some of the big bluffs or something like that, or the nice lakes.
And I suppose there are quite a few seasonal changes being in northern Minnesota.
There's all of them.
Which is more challenging? Is it the winter scenery that's more difficult with the bright sun? Or?
Yeah, they all have different challenges. I think the greatest challenge is particularly in the wintertime, of course, is how do you dress for it? And you're dealing with mittens and layers and, boots. And so you're just, it's another obstacle to deal with in terms of, it's hard enough to do the painting.
Are you painting in acrylics or oils?
Oils.
That's good, because otherwise your water's going to freeze, isn't it? If you're using a mister on acrylic.
I know one guy that did last winter, a couple winters ago, experimented with vodka as his watercolor medium.
Oh, for painting. Okay, yeah. I see.
And then the paintings he did, he titled, all different brands of vodka.
I see.
It was kind of fun.
Well, how much of a struggle do you think it is to be an artist in this day and age?
Man, it's hard. Number one, plein air painting has taken off exponentially, so there's a ton of people out there doing it for different reasons, professional, for fun. So you have a lot of competition in terms of like other paintings out there. So it's challenging.
You seem to stay very motivated, because even though I've just known you a few days, I know that you get up early, you come to your studio, you put in the hours, and then after the day is over, you still go out and paint, because that's where Roger met you, out painting the rocks.
Yeah. It's not the case every day, but it definitely does take, I work full time at a gallery. So it does take an extra effort to, get up early in the morning or go out after work and do something. And then usually I paint on my days off too, so.
I wonder where that desire comes from, because often I run into people that say, oh, I love art and I love to paint, I just can't find the time. But you make the time.
I've always just been, since, I was in high school, and I've always just loved, images and wanting to figure out a way to capture those. And at one point I thought maybe photography. This was before I knew anything about painting or plein air painting. I always thought maybe photography or something like that would be a way to do it. And then I can list a specific time while I was living at another town in northern Minnesota, and there was a cement plant factory. I would drive by frequently. In my mind, I kept saying, that would make a really cool painting. That would make a really cool painting. But I didn't know how to do it. After I started studying plein air painting, I went back and did a painting of that place that I loved, and I think the owners of the plant ended up buying the painting. So
you bring up another good point, finding a teacher. Don't you think that can be difficult for a student of any of the arts? But
yeah, it's difficult in terms, we live in a different age now where, people are busy and the teacher may be a long ways from where you are and you only get one weekend or a week out of the year to study with that person. I was fortunate enough to find a teacher who taught out of his studio and that I could take, classes from on a regular basis, which I think is really important if you're interested in learning how to paint or make a career out of it. Specifically.
Yes, you can't just paint seasonally and call yourself a painter. You've got to get out there in every season and get wet and get muddy and too hot, too cold, sunburned, bug bitten.
Yeah, it certainly raises your cachet on the plein air level. If you've been attacked by a wild animal, something like that.
Yeah, I guess so. Have you been?
No, I've not. The closest encounter to a wild animal I've had is maybe I had a hummingbird stick his beak in my paint.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Artist Point is an area very close to here where it's just got all kinds of beautiful subjects, and I think that's where you and Roger met.
Yep, yeah, I was painting that painting when you guys wandered out.
Yeah, well, instead of running into wildlife, we were lucky enough to run into some other artists. Yeah. So that was fun.
Cool, yeah.
And I know that you had a painting session with a model who was sitting on the rock.
Yeah, it was in the wintertime, the art colony has a life drawing co-op where artists can come in and just work from the figure indoors. In the summertime, because the studio where the life drawing takes place is filled with other classes, there's usually nothing going on in the summertime for figure work, and people are always like, oh, can we do something in the summertime? So I thought it would be fun to, have a figure, but because number one, you're outside in a public place and it's cold and buggy, it's a little challenging to have like a nude model like you would inside.
Challenging, I would say impossible.
Impossible, yeah. So I decided to just, informally put something together on Monday nights and just invited people to come out, and we split the model fee. And
good idea.
Yeah.
I know a few evenings ago you invited Raj along with another artist, Rick, to paint at the Cascade.
Yep, Cascade River State Park. There's a beautiful, it's called the Cascade River, and it flows into Lake Superior, and it's got a number of waterfalls, thus giving it the name Cascade.
Is that a place you can visit in the winter?
Yes, I actually painted there this winter. The river in late winter freezes over hard enough. There's places where you can, and the water level's low enough, you can walk across in some areas. So I trundled down onto the river and did a painting looking up the river. Yep.
Now, what kind of easel do you carry?
I have a French easel, the traditional wooden box with the legs that fold out. I have some backpack straps from an old Duluth pack, which is the packs they use to go through the boundary waters. I had an old pack. I took the leather straps off of that and bolted it onto my paint box, so it's got backpack straps. I also have a smaller kit that fits onto like a camera tripod. That's for if I go out on a trail or something where I don't want to carry something really heavy like a French easel. I have something a little bit lighter, a little bit more portable to take with me.
Are you an outdoorsman too?
I like to, yeah. Yep. I like to canoe, go hiking. There's a hiking trail that runs from Duluth all the way to the Canadian border called the Superior Hiking Trail. And for the last few years, I've been doing sections of the trail and painting along as I go. So I go out for an overnight and camp and then paint along the way. My goal is to do the whole hike the whole trail and have paintings of it all the way.
Yes, and I suppose you take pictures along the way.
Sometimes I do. I'm kind of a purist in that this is a tricky subject.
I'm wondering if you don't hold very good visual images just in your mind catalog.
Yeah, I think the training I had, really emphasized, specific, light effects in nature and how to capture those. Yeah, I have a pretty good sense of once I get something down, where it needs to go. If the painting is working and all the colors and values are right.
Do you make a study sometimes? Do you make several paintings of the same?
Sometimes, subject? Yeah. Usually I try to just one shot and move on.
Yes, Roger's like that too.
Yeah, and if it works out, awesome. If it doesn't work out, try to not sweat about it too much.
Neil, have you ever painted a fishing shack?
Yeah, there's a great one just outside of town.
Neil, are there any good fishing shacks around to paint?
Yeah, there's a really great one outside of town that artists have painted a lot.
Neil, wait.
Okay, sorry.
Neil, have you painted? Usually I can.
Yeah.
I can't do it. Have you painted any fishing shacks?
Yeah, there's a great one just outside of town along the lake that is really only visible in the wintertime, and it's a view kind of from the highway behind the property of that.
The leaves have gone, so you can get a nice view. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting how the snowy bank just goes right into the snowy Lake Superior.
Yeah, yep. It was cold that day.
Oh, I'll bet.
Okay, good.
Woo!